This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening as the deadline's passing for NFL teams to narrow down their rosters and make pup list decisions. Almost 9 months after suffering cardiac arrest during a game, safety Damar Hamlin has made the Bills' 53-man roster. The Bills reportedly won't remove pass rusher Von Miller from the pup list. He'll miss at least the first 4 games of the regular season. ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
Von Miller is coming back from the torn ACL that he suffered last season, and the Bills have decided to take the long-range view here and not rush him back. And so it's a situation where they're hopeful that after the 4 weeks are up, that at that point in time, Von Miller will be ready to return to the lineup.
Without Miller, Buffalo will rely on Leonard Floyd, Greg Rousseau, and A.J. Epinesa. Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord will start Week 1 against Indiana. QB Devin Brown will also play on Saturday. Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Sam Burns, the captain's picks for the U.S. team for next month's Ryder Cup. The Yankees released struggling infielder Josh Donaldson. He was hitting under 150 when he was placed on the IL last month.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save. This is Canty and Carlin.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. It is NFL roster cut day. Bill Bender of the Sporting News in 15 minutes. Scott Shanle next hour. Sean Fazende, who's at Saints practice right now, with us in hour number 3. Brian Kelly lauding his special teams. A lot to get to, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Okay, today is the deadline, and literally minutes ago, the window for teams to cut their rosters to 53 has closed. The deadline has come, 3 o'clock Central, and there are some notable names, as there are every year, with respect to the Saints cut down. So let me not bury the lead. Wil Lutz has been traded to the Denver Broncos. Linebacker Jalen Smith was cut. More on that in a second because I think he's going to be back. Bradley Roby was also cut. Let me quickly, if I could, just run through the other names. I'm going to do this quickly and not spend a ton of time on all of them because I think by and large we understand what this is. But one other thing that's always important to make mention of is this is always the first 53. As we always say, it's not your final 53. It's the first 53 because you're going to see guys that were cut today, signed tomorrow. I think Jalen Smith is one of them. You're going to see guys that made the team today cut tomorrow because you have about 1,000+ free agents all hitting the market at once, and somebody that was cut somewhere is going to be a player that the Saints want to keep. So first 53. Really quick, I'll just run through the names. Jalen Smith, Nico Lalos, who had a great preseason and might be a practice squad candidate, Nick Anderson, the former Tulane linebacker. These are all players that have been cut or waived. Jesse James, the tight end, Jack Heflin, the defensive tackle who had played in the XFL. Offensive tackle Mark Evans, offensive guard Chuck Fialiaga. Jonathan Abram, that could be another practice squad candidate. Adrian Fry, Bradley Roby, Alex Filstrom, Smoke Monday. Running back Ellis Merriweather cut. Keep an eye on that one to see if he might be back. Quan Baker, former 7th-round pick. We knew Brian Edwards was already cut as well. So those are the names that we knew, along with Scott Lashley, James Washington, as far as Coda Martin. Some of the guys that we knew had already been cut. 3 players, though, that I want to focus on here, the 3 biggest names on that list that we know right now, and they're probably still going to, as the deadline literally passed 5 minutes ago, there's still going to be names that haven't yet trickled out that we'll hear as we move through the day. But first and foremost, Wil Lutz being traded is probably the biggest news here. Earlier this week, Peter King reported that there was interest from Sean Payton potentially in trading for Wil Lutz. Now, we've talked about this before. Sean Payton and Peter King have a really good relationship. If you hear something from Peter King with relation to something involving Sean Payton, chances are he got it directly from Sean Payton. So that I don't think is a great surprise. That there was interest. The fact that the Saints went ahead and traded Wil Lutz to Denver is of great interest. They got a 2024 7th-round pick from Denver for Wil Lutz. Wil Lutz tweeted his appreciation to the New Orleans Saints, to the Saints fans, the Houdat Nation for the last 7 years. In fact, the tweet from Wil Lutz read, New Orleans, thank you for the best 7 years of my life. Being able to rock the black and gold has been an absolute honor. We started a family here, made lifelong friends, made memories we'll never forget. This city will always be a special place to us. Proud of everything we accomplished in our 7 years together. Pro Bowl, 4 division champs, and leaving with the second most points in team history. New Orleans, I'll always be a part of the Houdat Nation. Excited for the next chapter of our lives. Broncos country, let's ride. So congrats to Wil Lutz on a really good career in New Orleans these past 7 years, and best of luck to what is next. The thing that's worth noting here, Blake Grupe was fantastic in training camp, and it's a line that we've used many times, but it's a Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis line that's of the Bill Parcells lineage. They would rather get rid of a player a year too early than a year too late. The Saints do save about $1.7 million against the cap with Wil Lutz being a post-June 1 trade, but the Saints have nearly $12 million in cap space. That's largely inconsequential, but it's noteworthy. Wil Lutz made a Pro Bowl in 2019. And then the COVID year in 2020. In 2021, he was injured, missed the whole season. Came back last year, and Wil Lutz was literally the worst kicker in the league. Wil Lutz made 74% of his field goals. In the NFL, that is, in high school football, if a kid makes 74%, it's like, keep trying, Johnny. That's not bad. In college, if the kid makes 74% of his field goals, it's like, got anybody else down there warming up? Any walk-ons ready to go? In the NFL, you make 74% of your kicks, you're fired. So he was 37th in the league, 23 of 31. He was 37th among kickers. The only kickers who had a lower percentage were kickers that weren't full-time kickers. So he was bad. There's no other way to say it. Wil Lutz was bad. He was a bad kicker last year. So you bring in a young guy, and it looked like he was ready to roll, so you move on with Blake Grupe, and you got something for Wil Lutz. Okay, I'm with it. Wil Lutz had a good run here. The Saints feel like they got a younger guy with a strong enough leg who showed some moxie in this preseason, and they move on from a guy who had an awful year last year. Okay, I'm fine with it. Jalen Smith is going to be interesting to a lot of people, obviously, but it's worth reminding you how sometimes this goes. And Jalen Smith, even after he was cut, or news broke that he was cut, Jalen Smith tweeted, this I'm sure was confusing to a lot of people because he's cut, and then Jalen Smith tweeted, "Thanks be to God," at 11:25 a.m. with prayer hands. I'm certain this went like this. Hey, Jalen, listen, you're going to make the team. We have to cut you today, but don't go anywhere. We're going to re-sign you tomorrow. And a lot of times the way this goes down is guys will make the 53 and then be placed on IR, which ends their season and frees up a roster spot. So maybe that's Traquan Smith, who hasn't participated in camp this year because he's been injured. Maybe the Saints keep Traquan Smith on the 53, immediately put him on IR, and then re-sign Jalen Smith tomorrow. Jalen Smith made this team. He was magnificent during the preseason. He was consistently, with Pro Football Focus, one of the highest-graded players defensively for the New Orleans Saints yes, he fits. He's exactly what they need. He is their number 3 linebacker. This isn't even a question, especially after Andrew Dowell's injury. Jalen Smith is, I would be fall over stunned if Jalen Smith wasn't back on the Saints tomorrow, but that's sometimes how these things are processed. So expect Jalen Smith to be back in New Orleans on this team tomorrow. Again, first 53. And then the other is Bradley Roby. Bradley Roby came to New Orleans, from the Houston Texans and really fit what the Saints were doing very well. And where you had Marshawn Lattimore and you had Paulson Adebo, but you drafted Alontae Taylor, Bradley Roby is a guy who was a great nickel back for the Saints, but he tweeted, cutting costs at all costs might just cost you in the end. But he said, this is Bradley Roby's tweet. He said, cutting costs at all costs might just cost you in the end. And then he tweeted, good luck to my brothers and the Saints fans. Y'all deserve to be winners. #whodat. So classy way on the way out for Bradley Roby. I don't know that I'm fully on board with him saying this is a cost-cutting move. The Saints' salary cap situation right now is perfectly fine. As it stands today and before everything's been updated, the Saints have $11.7 million in cap space. So I don't know that Bradley Roby, is the kind of contract that, I'm looking at Bradley Roby right here. He restructured his deal, and his dead cap hit next year is $1.76 million. It's largely inconsequential. So I think ultimately what we see here is the Saints making a decision to move on and stick with their draft pick. Alontae Taylor was a second-round pick a year ago coming out of Tennessee. They really like him a lot. You've got Lattimore on one side, Adebo on the other, and Alontae is your slot corner, your nickel. So if you're going with the younger guy, I can kind of understand that. You're leaning on your draft collateral. And Bradley Roby, when he came out of Ohio State, was he was a first-round pick when he came out of Ohio State and was with the Broncos and the Texans, and ultimately the Saints traded for him, and he played well in New Orleans, played that role well. But the Saints are getting younger, and you could hardly blame them for that because Alontae Taylor looked really good. So those are the 3 big names as of right now. Again, Wil Lutz being traded. Congrats to Blake Grupe, who makes the team. Jalen Smith was cut, but fully expect him to be back. And Bradley Roby being cut is just an attaboy, a hat tip. Hey, we're leaning on the young guy in Alontae Taylor. And the Saints will move forward. But the thing I'll tell you about that, a year ago, Paulson Adebo with the knee injury missed 4 games. A year ago, Marshawn Lattimore with the weird abdominal injury that he had missed 10 games. So you're an injury away from leaning on Ugo Amadi, in that slot role. But there's always tough decisions every year. So we'll wait and see how this all plays out with Saints. They'll be able to sign some of these guys back to the practice squad. No doubt they have their list that they're interested in. We just found out Shaq Davis is another one of the guys that was waived. So if he clears waivers, no doubt that's a guy the Saints are going to want to have back as well. So this will evolve as we move forward, but that's where it stands as of right now. Okay, our Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. By the way, we do have our winner for the Friends in Low Places contest, which we will announce in hour 3 today. So we have our winner. So literally 2 hours from right now, we'll announce the Friends in Low Places winner for the 2 sweet tickets to see Garth in the Dome on Saturday in the Dome at the in the Mockler Suite, courtesy of our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light. Saint season, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the Southern Jaguars is Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana all football season with Bud Light. All right, it's after further review, y'all. Let me knock out our first break of the show. We'll come back. We'll talk a little college football with Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Don't you move.
AFR.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just...
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, week one is upon us. Bill Bender, Sporting News, good enough to join us. You can get him on Twitter or X, whatever, at Bill Bender 92. Bill, it's always great to chat, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, and on my phone, I updated. I keep looking for the bird, and I have to find the X now. It's really what it is.
It's so weird, man. I mean, I don't know why you would just punt that much brand equity, but Elon Musk is way smarter than the both of us put together. So I'll roll with it, I guess. Hey, you over there at Sporting News, you'll do a ranking 1 to 133, like every team, which is, man, like that's a hell of an endeavor to undertake. But I wanted to ask you a couple of takeaways when I looked at it. First, Bama at 4 is interesting to me because I think Bama is a team this year where, God, they got a lot of questions. So are you sold on Bama? Why are they at 4? What gives you confidence in Bama aside from the jersey and the coach?
Maybe I could answer the last question. Brand equity, right? I mean, some of it's that. It's you trust that they're going to be good. You trust that they're at home for most of the big games this year. LSU, Tennessee, Texas, and they've only lost 5 games at home since 2010, and 3 of the guys that went into Bryant-Denny and beat them won the Heisman Trophy. So you better play well when you go there. And but you're right. Questions at quarterback, a huge question at quarterback that we'll have answered on when they take the first snap on Saturday. But I still think there's more than enough 4- and 5-star talent to win the SEC West.
What about in the Big Ten East? Is it as just as simple as saying this is Ohio State, Michigan that's going to come down to the big game, or is Penn State a legitimate threat there, Bill?
Oh, it feels like I'm from Central Ohio,
Sure.
and remember when they came to the Big Ten, and it feels like the mid-'90s again, which is a good thing. It means Penn State, Ohio State is going to be a huge game. Penn State, Michigan will be huge, and maybe Michigan and Ohio State get to that game at 11-0, and that's only happened twice. It's really hard to pencil in a game for both teams to go 11-0 because something inevitably can go wrong. I remember doing that with Georgia and Alabama every year, right? I'm like, they'll both be 12-0. Something could happen along the way. And I think Penn State is that something that could happen for one of those two teams.
What when you look at schedules, and I haven't dived into every Big Ten schedule, whose schedule of those 3 is the most beneficial to getting them to that point?
Okay, so here's something fun. Let's say they all beat each other, and it's a round robin. They're all 11-1. Do you know what the Big Ten tiebreaker is? It is combined record of their Big Ten West opponents, believe it or not.
Okay.
So that's just a quirky, weird, do-the-math type deal. And if you look at the toughest Big Ten West opponents, it would be Ohio State. So I never said we did things the normal way up here in the Midwest, but that's the way the Big Ten does it.
Okay. Penn State would be just an interesting watch if they were able to climb that mountain this year. I mean, they've obviously won the Big Ten. Was it 2016, Bill, where they beat Ohio State, won the Big Ten, but were still left out of the playoffs? So, it's going to be fascinating to watch that half of the conference. Bill Bender's with us on Twitter at BillBender92. Hey, let's go to this weekend. LSU, Florida State, obviously is the one everyone here is super excited about. Where are you on this Florida State team? Considering they won 6 in a row, won 10 games, all that sort of stuff, all the guys returning for this season?
Florida State's got a lot of hype around them, but they're the ultimate buy-sell September team because of the 2 big games they have. I mean, they could lose to LSU and lose to Clemson, and then we'll be off of them so quick it won't even be funny. They do have Jordan Travis back. He's exciting. I like their receivers. Keon Coleman, the Michigan State transfer, will be great for 50-50 balls. Johnny Wilson averaged 20 yards a catch. Anytime a receiver averages 20 yards a catch and is around 10 touchdowns, he has my attention in the college game. So, I mean, that's going to be a big key for LSU. How do you guard these really tall receivers that can get down the field?
Are you sold on LSU as a contender this year?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of attention on Mason Smith, but their front seven's really good. And they brought in a lot of transfers on the defensive side. I think Jaden Daniels will continue to grow. It's easy to forget how talented this roster is. I mean, and I'm talking as an outsider, not in that part of the country. I think they're in that weight class of they should have enough talent to win it every year, much like we talk about Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and the equity that those brands have from the talent that they put into the NFL draft. LSU's right there with those guys.
I know a lot of people are just convinced that the SEC is just going to be a Bama, Georgia, predetermined destination there in Atlanta. Do you look at the SEC this year or the Big Ten as a team more likely to get 2 into the playoffs? Not saying it's going to happen, but which would be more likely to have that happen this year?
I think it's more likely that the Big Ten has Ohio State and Michigan go undefeated again. But the trick to that is if Ohio State wins that game, I don't think Michigan goes to the playoffs because of their really poor non-conference schedule. And that's going to get talked about in November again because they play East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Whereas, the SEC, if Alabama or LSU got there at 12-0 and Georgia was there at 12-0, we would just pencil it in. Hey, they're both in. Maybe they could just cancel the game because that's not how they do it down there. But they would both be in the playoffs.
A couple more for you. I know everyone asked the sleeper question. Is there a TCU? I don't know that we necessarily expect anything like that, Bill. I mean, college football isn't built to have a team like that come out of nowhere and make the championship game. But aside from the 6 obvious teams that everybody talks about, what is the team that might be poised to make a run if everything falls right for them?
Well, I'll give you an SEC team that I'm watching. It's Texas A&M because I know they have the talent, and I've watched them beat Alabama and take Alabama to the last play. I watched them beat LSU. They have a 5-star quarterback. They have 5-star guys on the perimeter and a running back. And you know the next part, right? Bobby Petrino. I don't know. I mean, that's the big question. Does this work? Does this hire work out for Jimbo Fisher? They didn't score 40 points in a game last year, which is really hard to do if you're a quote-unquote like powerhouse. So I want to watch that offense. That Week 2 game against Miami be very interesting.
I'm not sold on A&M. I think there's a lot of reasons for questions. What about one of the Pac-12 teams? I mean, there's Southern Cal, but boy, like the quarterback play in the Pac-12 this year is just off the charts. Do you see any one of those teams that could potentially run the table and crash the playoff party?
Well, Washington and Oregon have good quarterbacks too. You know, Bo Nix is really good. He's been around. These veteran quarterbacks that have been around. I mean, Notre Dame's a great example of that last weekend. Sam Hartman's 24. The system allows for it. He plays well. And I think Bo Nix will play well at Oregon. I think Michael Penix will play great at Washington. I think the trick with the Pac-12 is there are so many good quarterbacks that could cannibalize themselves like they did last year. I mean, I like USC's offense a lot. I like Caleb Williams a lot, but you know what comes next? I mean, you know this. Their defense is not good enough right now.
He's on Twitter at BillBender92. Aside from LSU, Florida State, you get one game to watch this weekend. Which is it?
I'd probably go North Carolina, South Carolina. I lived down in Charlotte for 7 years, so I know there's a little rivalry between the states, and Rattler and May ought to be pretty good. It's at Bank of America Stadium. I think that's a fun game with 2 fun quarterbacks. I suppose that would be the only one. If I get only one on Thursday, it'll be Nebraska, Minnesota.
Oh, really?
That rule does. Yeah, I want to see how the Huskers do, even though Utah, Florida will be fun.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to go Nebraska, Minnesota because I think Matt Rule might have something there at Nebraska.
Matt Rule won at 2 of the worst jobs in college football, in Temple and Baylor. He'll win at Nebraska.
Exactly.
But my question, Bill, is what's the ceiling? Like, there's a ceiling at Nebraska in 2023. Like, you're not winning a national championship at Nebraska in 2023. What is that ceiling for him?
Well, I think getting to a bowl game. I think starting to learn how to win. You know, they averaged 5 one-score losses the last 5 years. It's just so many heartbreakers in college football. You shouldn't have that many. And, you know, they play Michigan early. And I think that's one of those measuring stick games for him. It'll be in Lincoln. Michigan's had some trouble when they've gone out there a couple times. And, you know, Jim Harbaugh, I think, will be 1 game removed from his ridiculous suspension. And then that could be a fun game. So Nebraska's one that has my interest for sure.
He is Bill Bender of the Sporting News on Twitter at BillBender92. Y'all give him a follow. Looking forward to seeing a full slate this weekend, Bill. We'll be following you on Twitter or X, whatever we're going to call it now. And we'll talk to you again as the season moves along. Thanks as always.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
All right, be well. That is Bill Bender of the Sporting News. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. It awful weather this past weekend, really across Louisiana. If you had high winds, heavy rain, hail, any of that, let us come give you a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Go to the website at HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com. Louisiana company, born in Bossier, been around for more than 20 years, servicing the entire state of Louisiana. So no matter what area code you're in, there's a Hudco phone number for you. If you go to the website, you'll see it right at the top of the website. Or if you'd rather, there's a really easy form to fill out on the homepage. Just name, email address, what your issue is. We'll have someone in touch with you immediately to schedule a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. It's Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. And remember, if you got a commercial building, I keep telling you about this, there's a silicone coating product Hudco offers. It's roughly half the price of a roof replacement, and comes with a 20-year warranty. 20-year warranty. If you have a commercial building and you haven't inquired about this, you're probably overpaying. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We'll go around the SEC when we come back, and I'll give you the latest on Eric Gilbert. I'm sure many of you probably have seen the story by now. A really sad story, just continues to get worse. Scott Shanle, former Saint linebacker, with us 30 minutes from right now. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. We are 2 days away, y'all. 2 days away from the Get Gordon Billboards competition ending. So go to the website. You know what it is by now. GetGordonBillboards.com. That's GetGordonBillboards.com. And you can enter your artwork, and you could be featured on Gordon's next billboard, and you could win $2,000 worth of prizes. Really cool. Online at GetGordonBillboards.com. That's GetGordonBillboards.com. The other thing I would highly recommend, as I always say, follow Gordon on all of his social media at GetGordon. He does a series called Grubbin' with G, where he takes his G team athletes and talks to them. So he's got an interview clipped with he and Mason Smith that they did after the suspension was announced. So really good content there if you want to hear Mason Smith talk about it. Go to any social media platform at GetGordon, and you'll see it there. You know what to do. If you've been injured in an accident, go to GetGordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCOroofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Happy birthday to Michael. Would have been 65 years old today. August 29th, 1958, King of Pop. Tell y'all, man, Michael was a creep. But damn, he was talented, bro. Last summer, when Erica and I went to New York, went to Broadway, and we saw did I tell you all this? Did I tell you this? We saw the Michael Jackson play.
You did not tell me that.
So there's my first time ever going to Broadway. I think it's like, was it MJ the Musical? Is that what it was called? MJ the Musical? Yeah, MJ the Musical. That's it. Eric and I went. The dude that plays Michael Jackson in that, I mean, you'd have thought they brought Michael back from the grave. I mean, freaking phenomenal.
Just like all of it? Like,
highly recommend.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know where they got this dude for MJ the Musical. I mean, I'm not exactly the guy that, not to say that I'm not a cultured person, but I haven't always been like aching to go to Broadway or plays or shows or anything like that. And I had a friend who's like, Matt, like, you gotta go to Broadway. Like, if you've never, you gotta go. So we did. I bought us like really good tickets. We're like in the third row. And it was like being at a Michael Jackson concert. The next closest thing to being at an MJ concert. Anyway, happy birthday to the King of Pop. Would have been 65 years old today. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for being here with us. You probably saw this story. Former LSU tight end Eric Gilbert was arrested up in Lincoln, Nebraska. If you haven't followed Gilbert's story, of course, was a 5-star tight end, signed with LSU in the class of 2020, left the team during the season. At the time, Ed Ogeron said Gilbert was what did he say? It was something about his body was hurt or something like that. I mean, could have used anything. Kind of opt out, and it could have done anything. It could have said anything. But anyway, so Gilbert, if you remember, entered the transfer portal and ultimately, initially had committed to Florida and then went to Georgia and missed a year at Georgia and then played in a couple of games last year. Transferred to Nebraska, where they're still awaiting a waiver for him to be eligible this season. I don't have an audio sheet. Do we have that, Matt Rule? Anyway, so it's fine. Just this was Matt Rule about. Was this the one from last week or today? This was Matt Rule from last week, by the way, about Eric Gilbert.
It's not finalized yet. I'm just going to be really disappointed if he doesn't get it. It's the most deserving young man of that. If he doesn't get it, they shouldn't even have the waiver. The NCAA should not even have the waiver if he doesn't get it.
That was Matt Rule a week ago talking about Eric Gilbert and his request for a waiver to be immediately eligible. Remember, Gilbert transferred from LSU to Georgia, so that was his one-time transfer. So now to be eligible at Nebraska, he's got to get a waiver. And Matt Rule a week ago. I mean, what was that last? I mean, it was like last Tuesday. I mean, it was the middle of last week. Matt Rule was like, if he's the most deserving young man, if he doesn't get it, why even have the rule? And less than a week later, Eric Gilbert's arrested. Here was Matt Rule today.
Really disappointed, really sad for him. When we took Eric, we knew we had a good group of people that were going to help him through some of the issues he's dealing with in his life. Had been really proud of the job he had done in the spring and summer. But to be honest, during camp, he's had some struggles. He's been working to overcome them. We have a great group of people here trying to help him. And then obviously last night happened. So I don't have a lot of details. You guys probably have more details than me. I got a quick phone call and then went out to the field. So we'll work through those as we get more information.
Eric Gilbert he shattered a glass door at a vape shop and stole $1,600 worth of items. Vape products, liquor. Police responded. They found him. He was apprehended without any issue. Part of me just wants to blurt it out. I know we've danced around the issue with Eric Gilbert now for 3 years, but you can hear it in the way every coach talks about him. It's not just coaches making excuses for a really talented young guy to keep him on the field. Play that one again. Could you? This is Matt Rule again from today.
really disappointed, really sad for him. When we took Eric, we knew we had a good group of people that were going to help him through some of the issues he's dealing with in his life. Had been really proud of the job he had done in the spring and summer. But to be honest, during camp, he's had some struggles. He's been working to overcome them. We have a great group of people here trying to help him. And then obviously last night happened. So I don't have a lot of details. You guys probably have more details.
That's good. That's all. I mean, we had a good group of people here to help him with the issues in his life. He's had some struggles. I think to people who know or who have dealt with things like this, it's as clear as day. And mostly, I think you just really, really sincerely hope that somebody can make it click for Gilbert to get him on medication and get him the help, as Matt Rule said, that he needs. But that is a really, really difficult task when it's someone who's dealing with the types of issues that Eric Gilbert has. So, you just hope that someone can get through to him, which is just a very difficult thing to do. All right. It's after further review. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators.
So Florida is altering its travel plans for the season opener against Utah. Hurricane Idalia. Am I saying that right? Is it Idalia? I don't think it is. Cauble was telling me this earlier today. I thought it was Idalia. He was saying it differently. Anyway.
Let's ask him when he's here at 4:30.
Okay. Or maybe look it up. See if you can find someone that said it on Twitter or something. It looks like Idalia, but I think he was telling me it's pronounced differently. Anyway, the Gators were going to leave on Wednesday. Now they're going to leave Tuesday, fly to Dallas, stay in Dallas, then on Wednesday go forward to Salt Lake City. Billy Napier's trying to spin it into a positive. They get to break up the trip, all that sort of stuff. But hurricane forecast, of course, has the storm coming across Florida on the Gulf Coast of Florida on Wednesday early morning and then being up to the Carolinas by Thursday. So Florida's going to go west and get in front of it.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
State's going to honor former coach Mike Leach during the season opener against Southeastern on Saturday. They'll have tributes throughout Davis-Wade Stadium. There'll be a presentation with the Leach family after the first quarter. Leach, of course, died in September. He spent 3 seasons at Mississippi State.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Shane Beamer provided the latest injury report Tuesday on Antoine Wells and Nicholas Harbor, a couple of starters. Beamer said he fully expects both of them to play Saturday night against North Carolina. Wells had 68 catches for just under 1,000 yards a year ago. Harbor, who's their tight end, had caught 15 balls for 439 and 5 scores. Pretty significant offensive pieces for South Carolina. Defensive end, Jatius Greer, linebacker Bam Martin Scott, and freshman tight end Connor Cox, all questionable.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy's getting healthier going into Saturday's game against Alabama A&M. Defensive lineman Darren Aguirre, who missed the Hawaii game with a dislocated elbow, he's back at practice, listed as questionable this week. Also, linebacker safety Jeffrey Ugo, who's been dealing with a sprained ankle, also questionable after missing the game a week ago. Meanwhile, a new player on the injury report is reserve tackle Leighton Nelson. Commodores play Alabama A&M Saturday at 6 o'clock.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And 3 days after he reopened his recruitment, Jay Lindsey committed to Alabama. 2024 tight end is a 3-star, originally committed to Mississippi State back in April, decommitted after Alabama offered, and now is committed to the Crimson Tide. He's the second tight end in the class of 2024 for Alabama. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Tell you every day, face-to-face sales service after the sale. That's our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Okay, let me knock out a break. Come back and wrap up hour number 1. Scott Shanle in about 15 minutes. NFL Cutdown Day, going through some of the big roster news. If you're just jumping aboard with us, most notably, Saints have traded kicker Wil Lutz to the Denver Broncos. Blake Grupe wins that job over Wil Lutz. Bradley Roby was cut by the Saints today. And then also Jalen Smith, a surprise cut there. But it seems pretty obvious that Smith is going to be back with this team. It's one of those things where they needed to free up an initial 53 roster spot. But they'll very likely re-sign him very quickly after the initial 53 is done. So we'll keep an eye out for that as well. All right, Scott Shanle in about 15 minutes. Michael Cauble next hour. Sean Fazende, Fox 8 New Orleans with us in hour 3. Ton to do, and glad you're here. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Man, I told you last week I popped down to New Orleans and was at an event hosted by Rouse's, and all of the executives at Rouse's over every division spoke and made a presentation. And the thing that was the most impressive part of everything they said was local. They literally have handshake deals with some fishermen that they source from that they've had for 17 years because that's just the way that they do business. It was incredible to hear that, how rooted Rouse's is in our local community. When they started as City Produce 100 years ago, then got into the grocery business about 60 years ago, and now so impressive how they've grown. Lake Charles all the way to Orange Beach, Alabama, online at rouses.com. They are local. Look for the Rouse's branded products, the greatest ingredients sourced locally where they can. Rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Talk to Scott Shanle in about 11 minutes. Jim Harbaugh had a press conference on Monday, And we know you follow the story. Jim Harbaugh is going to be suspended the first 3 games of the year. It's largely inconsequential. They don't play anybody. It's a good opportunity for his assistants to get experience. He's ticked about it. I don't blame him. But the conversation morphed into what everybody talks about now, which is NIL and revenue and profit sharing and all that sort of stuff. And Jim Harbaugh kind of went to bat in a heavy-handed way today for student athletes to participate in revenue sharing. Give a listen.
I continue to advocate for that today, a system of revenue sharing with the student athletes. I'm aware and understand that when someone speaks out in defense of those without a voice, attempts are made to diminish the individual's character and credibility. As a former player and current coach, mentoring many of these student athletes, what I want to do is be a voice for the student athletes. I want them to be treated with the respect and the dignity that they deserve. What I don't understand is how the NCAA, television networks, conferences, universities, and coaches can continue to pull in millions, and in some cases, billions of dollars in revenue off the efforts of college student athletes across the country without providing enough opportunity to share in the ever-increasing revenues.
Okay. In theory, that's great. In practicality, the execution does not work. I'm going to say this again. There's nobody who is more staunchly in favor of student athletes getting theirs than me. I am as extreme on this issue as they come. As far, it don't matter if it's left or right. It ain't about that. It's just whatever. Just say student athletes getting paid, student athletes not getting paid. Look at that as a sliding scale. As far on the ways you can go, student athletes getting paid, that's where I reside. There is a realistic issue with this, though. Let's just take LSU, for example. LSU's revenue a year ago was $199 million. Let's use a round number and say $200 million. So LSU did $200 million in revenue. LSU has 450 scholarship student athletes. Let me ask the room, what would be an equitable share for a scholarship student athlete? Because they all have to be equal. Remember, if you're going to pay Jaden Daniels, you got to pay the female soccer players the same. That's Title IX, okay? What would be good for a student athlete to participate in rev share? Round number?
$10,000.
So $10,000 for the year?
Yeah, $10,000.
Okay. $10,000 for the year per student athlete. I'm terrible at math, so I'm going to use a calculator. You're talking about $4.5 million of revenue, okay? $4.5 million in revenue if you were to give the 450 student athletes at LSU $10,000 each. $4.5 million may seem like a drop in a bucket until you realize that every single sport on LSU's campus, except football and men's basketball, and baseball turns a small profit. Every other one loses money. LSU women's basketball just won a national championship. They lose more than $2 million a year. They will never be profitable. It is not economically possible for that program to make money. So that money's got to come from somewhere. It's not coming through rev shares. And that's at a place like LSU where they break even or make a little money. You lose sight of the fact that most everywhere, they ain't making $199 million in top-line revenue. So the best way to do it is the way you are doing it. Let Jaden Daniels go do a deal with Beats and Powerade and make money based on his brand name and image. That's how it's got to go. Unless if you want to convince every coach in the country to stop taking million dollar contracts and start giving that money to the student athletes, I don't know another way that you could do it. Or you tell the student athletes you're not flying private anymore. You're not staying in nice hotels anymore because all that money, we're giving you that money instead of providing you travel and lodging and food and all that sort of stuff, which they'll push back against. It's just not a feasible approach. I don't know how you do that. I have yet to see a model that makes sense how that is possible. But it ain't going nowhere. Okay, we're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020. Just before we came in studio here, pulled up Instagram, and there was a post at the Williamson Eye Center's Instagram page. I guess it's on, I'm assuming it's on Facebook as well, but they're doing a giveaway in conjunction with Major Burns, who's part of their I don't see it on Facebook, so it must be Instagram. Go to Williamson LASIK on Instagram, on their Instagram story, and they're doing a giveaway with Major Burns. You can get all the deets there. Again, at Williamson LASIK on Instagram if you want to see it. Pretty cool. You can get, they termed it a major giveaway, which is pretty cool. So you get a Major Burns signed football, signed jersey. There's tickets and all the other kind of stuff is like that. They're giving away designer sunglasses, $100 gift card to Shop the Girl Chic. They're giving away a TV, gift cards to restaurants. Really cool stuff. Phil's Oyster Bar. So anyway, check it out. Again, at Williamson LASIK on Instagram, you can see how you can enter. They have a really cool giveaway they're doing in conjunction with Major Burns. WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, it is after further review. Putting a button here on hour number 1. Let me knock out our break. Top of the hour, we'll get you caught up on national headlines with SportsCenter. When we come back, NFL Cutdown Day. We'll talk to former Saints linebacker Scott Shanle about how it's all going down. Stick around with us on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. School's back in session. One of the really cool things that you'll notice if you go to any of Traction's social media, you follow it, you'll see a lot of the teams that train at Traction, like Parkview Baptist Softball or St. Joseph's Academy Soccer. The whole team's train there. So there is that possibility. You want to get your whole team to schools. You want to get your whole team to do team training at Traction, they can do it. But parents, your son or daughter plays sports, is an athlete, and you want them to be the best version of themselves, let Traction help. Traction has monthly memberships where your son or daughter can have unlimited sessions of small group sports-specific training. You want to be bigger, stronger, faster, more flexible, whatever it may be. Sports-specific training is so affordable. Check it out at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what we're working on for our stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. 24 hours after the media obtained body camera video of an interrogation warehouse where a lawyer alleges his client was tortured, the mayor has forbidden the use of it, and an investigation is underway to determine what actually happened there. It comes as the cop accused of excessive force resigned from his job. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Colts not trading running back Jonathan Taylor today. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting the Colts didn't find what they felt was a fair value trade offer for Taylor. They'd given him until today to find a suitable deal. He is expected to remain on the PUP list and miss at least the first 4 games of the season. Bills pass rusher Von Miller also still on the PUP list, out at least the first 4 games. Veteran Leonard Floyd among those Buffalo will rely on in Miller's absence, notes ESPN radio host Chris Canty.
They did add Leonard Floyd as a pass rusher. They're expecting big things from Greg Rousseau and A.J. Epinesa. They do have Shaq Lawson. Those are going to be the guys that are responsible for putting pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. And we got to watch whether or not that group is going to be able to get that done in the wake of not being able to have Von Miller for the first quarter of the year.
Chris Canty on Greeny. Nearly 9 months after suffering cardiac arrest during a game, safety Damar Hamlin has made the Bills' 53-man roster. ESPN's Mike Reese reports Patriots waive quarterbacks Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham. Mac Jones currently the only QB on New England's roster.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Michael Cauble of WBRZ will be with us here in about 30 minutes from right now. We'll talk some Tigers. Sean Fazende, Fox 8 New Orleans in hour number 3. It is cut down day in the NFL. A guy who saw plenty of these days during his decade-long career in the NFL, which of course included a Super Bowl championship with the New Orleans Saints, is Scott Shanle, who's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Scott, we always appreciate it, man. How are you?
Hey, absolutely. I'm doing good.
Hey, what is today like for the guys in the locker room?
It's tough. It really is. I think, for me, I went through every stage of it. I was a 7th round draft pick. I made a team, and I had no idea that making a team still doesn't mean you make a team. Yeah. You can get cut any day. So it took me a while to learn the business side of it, because right now there's guys who think they made the team, and their team will go claim somebody off the waiver wire, and there'll be more roster movement for the next couple of days. But I just think when you get down to that point and you feel like there's a team that thinks I'm good enough to make a 53-man roster in the NFL, it's a good feeling. Regardless of what happens over the next couple of days, you're probably going to end up on a roster somewhere. And I really love the fact that some of these guys can end up on practice squads and give their career a chance. I really like the expanded practice squads, but it is a very nerve-wracking time because you grow close to a lot of guys. There'll be young guys, veterans, that you'll be lockering next to. You get to know guys. Some of these guys played on other teams. Maybe they played against your college team. And to see that roster cut in half just like that, it's always a tough time.
Do you have a feeling on how they do it now, where instead of it coming in waves, it's all just one day? You got to go from 90 to 53?
Yeah, I don't like it as much. I really don't. I think the reason I don't like it is because it's a huge influx of players all at once into the free agency system or the waiver wire. And I think it makes it hard for some guys to land with other teams. Usually in the past, there was a first roster cut, then a second roster cut. Usually if you got released early, you could go try out for teams. You still had time to get into another training camp to show a team that you were going to have to make their roster. Now it's really hard. You, like you said, it's one big roster cut basically, and it's hard for a lot of guys to get in front of other teams and get tryouts.
Scott Shanle is with us, former Saints linebacker, of course, Saints game day analyst on Your View. One of the ones that everyone's sort of circling today, Scott, is a linebacker you know a lot about. That's Jalen Smith. And the feeling kind of here, Scott, is that he'll probably be back, that they cut him to maybe, allow for an opportunity for someone to maybe make the team, then go to IR, they could open up a spot and bring him back. I think that's fairly common. But what are your overall thoughts on the role Jalen Smith played after joining the Saints just before that second preseason game?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a chance he could be back on practice squad. And it's another advantage of the practice squad and allowing veteran players to be on it. But I also am a little bit surprised at how many people thought he would make the roster, because this is a guy, he has attributes that he could play in the NFL, but also at the same time, the Dallas Cowboys gave him a big deal. They ate a chunk of money and said, you can't perform at a level that we'd want to keep you around. The Packers kept him for a cup of coffee. The Giants had him last year. I think if you really look at Jalen's game, he's very limited in playing all three downs. And I think that's why he struggles to stay on teams. He whether it's from the injury he sustained at Notre Dame, he just can't play in open field and in space the way a lot of teams want. And this game has gone down to a 2-linebacker system. It's no longer a 3-4 or a 4-3, and you're keeping 7 linebackers. You better be able to play special teams if you make a team, or you really have to be a nickel linebacker and be able to play 3 or 4 downs. And I don't think he's that type of linebacker. He could maybe be your third backer and play over a tight end, but that's probably all you're going to get out of him at this point in his career.
Of the linebackers, the young guys, who stood out that you did? Because that's a giant question, right, Scott? I mean, there was the unfortunate injury, and then obviously you lost 2 linebackers in free agency. So who do you like there?
Yeah, obviously I think you need to stay healthy at every position in the NFL, because when you're talking about a 53-man roster, your starters are going to be, you miss a guy like Marshawn Lattimore, your secondary automatically needs help immediately. So it's just like with linebacker. You miss Demario Davis or Pete Werner, and automatically you're searching really quick. But I thought Sewell did a good job as a young guy. One thing that stood out to me about him was first preseason game, he's out there getting a ton of snaps on defense. He may have even started in that first preseason game. And I think anytime that happens with a young guy who wasn't drafted high, I think automatically as a fan, that guy has done really, really good things in a short amount of time. So I think there's young guys who are going to be huge contributors on special teams, but I'm not really worried about the lack of a veteran presence behind DeMario and Pete, because I think in this defense, with the amount of multiple schemes that Dennis runs, I think those guys will hopefully stay healthy, but I'm not really worried about keeping a guy just because they're a veteran behind those 2.
Scott Shanley's with us here for a couple more minutes on Twitter at Scott Shanle. Look, a guy you played with is Jimmy Graham, and he made this team. I mean, what's your reaction when you see Jimmy Graham running out there in his mid-30s after sitting out for a year and making this team?
I love it. I think, first of all, a lot of people thought it was one of those feel good, we're going to sign Jimmy, he's going to be here for camp, and then he's going to retire. But I think anybody who saw Jimmy out there run around and body post guys up in the end zone this last game and score touchdowns and catch back shoulder fades, I tell you, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe this made other Saints fans feel about 10 years younger. But when I see Jimmy Graham in a Saints uniform making plays, I feel like I just played. Like I feel like I should be getting ready to play. And so it's kind of like a time warp, and it's awesome because I think I will go to my grave believing, for whatever reason, why Jimmy got traded. There's lots of different stories. If Jimmy Graham would have worn black and gold his whole career, I really believe you would be talking about him in the same breath we talk about Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Travis Kelce. I really believe that Jimmy Graham would have had that type of career in New Orleans, and it was a shame it just didn't get extended. But he has a chance to make it right, and I hope he has a really productive year this year.
I don't know if you've looked at the full list of the 53-man roster. Were there any cuts or players that made the team that did surprise you?
I don't know. I don't know about surprise. I think every year you kind of have toss-up between, are they going to go with the youth? Are they going to keep this veteran? I don't feel like they got rid of anybody that can't be replaced as far as their production. I know it would have been nice to trade Roby. He's a veteran corner. Everybody needs veteran corners. I don't think the Saints necessarily needed him. Now, again, you need him if Marshawn gets hurt or Taylor gets hurt or Debo, but I really like those three guys at corner. And it comes down to dollars and cents sometimes. Sometimes you can't keep a fourth corner at that type of money. So I think people were probably surprised by Roby. People probably surprised that Lutz got traded. But again, the young guy came in and made some big kicks, and sometimes it really does come down to dollars and cents. Can you be almost as good, if not better, than the veteran guy that we had to get rid of to make our salary cap better for the future?
What about Andrus Peat making the team?
You know what? I know Andrus has been a huge lightning rod for a lot of Saints fans, and me included. He hasn't stayed healthy enough to warrant that type of paycheck every week, or dominant enough. I'll be honest. He has to play better football. But again, I think the one thing that scares organizations, and I'm not going to say I'm surprised by him making the team, because the weakness of this team last year was the offensive line, and not the starters. It was because you were playing with third and fourth string linemen. And when you go from first to second string linemen in the NFL, you will notice a drop off immensely. So it doesn't surprise me that they kept Andrus, because you're going to need a guy who has played a lot of football. If you sustain an injury somewhere, maybe Andrus doesn't start. I don't know. But you have to have guys at guard and tackle that can play multiple positions, because, again, it's a numbers game. You're only going to keep 7 linemen. You need experience at those positions.
His ability, we were talking about it, his ability to play tackle probably was one of the things that weighed very heavily in his favor. It's always interesting. Like you said, Scott, it's never the final 53. It's the first 53. So no doubt over the next 48 hours or so, we're going to see more changes. He's on Twitter at Scott Shanle. Of course, Saints Game Day analyst over on Your View. We're looking forward to all the coverage all season long, man. We appreciate a couple minutes whenever we can get it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
It's our pleasure. That is Scott Shanle, Super Bowl champion, former Saint great linebacker. And really interesting take on Jalen Smith. That's probably the most my hand's in the air. That's the most interesting thing Scott said, I think, is my hand's in the air. I'm one of those ones who's genuinely surprised to see Jalen Smith get cut. And Scott saying, oh, look, there's a reason why Dallas and Green Bay and New York all moved on. Now, he was productive in New York, and he started for them in the playoffs a year ago, but it's true that they didn't bring him back. So maybe it's time to go to one of the younger guys. We'll see. Interesting take there by Scott. We always appreciate a couple of minutes. Okay, it's after further review. Hey, remember, college football week 1, staring us straight in the face, y'all. Oh, you're 2 days away from Thursday Night Football. Florida, Utah, you want to bet on it? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. New customers use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 college football bet, and they will give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. Win or lose, as soon as you make that $5 college football bet with the promo code Baton Rouge, instantly they'll give you $200 in bonus bets. So if you're a new customer, you've been thinking about it on the fence, man, what is all the sports betting talking about? It makes everything more fun. Were you sitting there watching week 0, deeply invested in Ohio U against San Diego State? I was. Even if it's just a $5 bet. Make a $5 college football bet with the promo code Baton Rouge. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, Muse, did we ever find out the name of the hurricane officially? Is it Is it Idalia?
So I watched 3 separate videos, Weather Channel, a couple other meteorologists. I saw Idalia, Adalia, and Edalia.
Edalia. That's it. That's what Cauble said it was.
Okay.
He said it was E, not I. Edalia.
Edalia.
So I don't know. So who makes this up? Who makes up the name? I know it's like the whole list is predetermined when the hurricane season begins.
Right. Yeah, so I Googled that too, and apparently it's not the National Hurricane Center. They don't get that right. It's an international committee.
Well, it would have to be. Storms don't just hit our nation.
I know. Of the world, well, I know, but hurricanes, they're called different things around the world, right? Cyclone, typhoon, yeah.
Well, not when you're talking about an Atlantic hurricane that goes into the Gulf.
But then there's a typhoon.
No, cyclones and typhoons are different.
I wonder if these people name the same. Anyway, it's an international committee of the World Meteorological Organization.
Okay.
They get the right to name hurricanes or typhoons or tropical cyclones or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. Today's August 29th. It's the anniversary of both Katrina and Ida.
Yep.
So what a day to be talking about hurricanes. 18 years ago, Hurricane Katrina. It is after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Mike Norvell and the Florida State players are back in front of the media today previewing LSU. Let's hear some of that. By the way, in 45 minutes, I want to delve deeper. So right at the top, hour 3, I want to delve deeper into what Brian Kelly had to say on Monday about LSU's special teams and how they might impact the Florida State game. I have some things, some tidbits, some notes that as I was thinking about it and hammering it out, I think you might enjoy. We'll get to that in 45 minutes. Okay, stick around with us here. We'll talk some LSU, Florida State next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. With 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV tonight and every Tuesday. 2 things. Number 1, kids eat free. Adults, you buy an entree, your kids eat free. That's every Tuesday at Pluckers. So you want to get out and about, have a fun family night. Everybody can eat great, eat affordably. Pluckers every Tuesday, kids eat free. Also Tuesday, Nicholson location, our guy Hunt Palmer, a.k.a. Hoot Palmario, hosts sports trivia. So get your boys together, get your team together. Don't want to exclude the ladies. Get your team together. Get on by Pluckers, Nicholson location, 8:30 every Tuesday, sports trivia. 5 rounds, live action trivia. Hunt will lob the questions. You answer them. Winners for every round, and every team gets to spin the prize wheel. So even if you don't win a round, you still get to spin the prize wheel to win a great prize. That's at Pluckers. Dining, carry out, or delivery. You don't like our wings? We'll give you the bird.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Harold's going to be able to impact the game in the things that we're going to do with him. He's going to move around. You won't see him just lining up in the middle of our defense. He's going to be, where's Harold Perkins? And you're going to have to find him, and you're going to have to account for him. Just like we're going to have to account for Jared Verse. We're going to have many different ways to handle Jared Verse. We're going to have slide and tight ends and chips and doubles and all kinds of things. He's that good of a player, and they're going to have to find Harold Perkins as well.
Brian Kelly meeting with reporters on Monday, talking about the challenge that Florida State and every team is going to face with handling Harold Perkins. One of the really interesting things about this game, as much as we've talked about Mason Smith, and with good reason, Mason Smith he's a disruptor. He is a giant, literal force in the middle of your defense. We have not spent a lot of time talking, until really today, talking about the impact that Harold Perkins may have on this game. And, if you go look up the box score from that game last year, Harold Perkins played in the game. He made one tackle. It wasn't until the Tennessee week that Perkins really emerged as a key cog in this defense. And I would argue that defensively, there is no more disruptive player in college football than Harold Perkins. I don't think that's purple and gold homerism. I understand there's 133 players in college, or teams in college football at the FBS level, and there's a lot of defensive players, and a lot of really good ones as well. Jared Verse is a great player, was a projected first-round draft pick. But kind of like what Brian Kelly was saying, you're going to come to the line and know where Jared Verse is. He's going to have his hand in the dirt, or he's going to be standing on the edge, but you're going to know where he is on the field and where he's going, by and large. That changes with Harold Perkins now. Mike Norvell, Florida State practiced today, Tuesday, and Mike Norvell met with reporters after practice on Tuesday. And, kind of talked about that a little bit, about that Perkins isn't just going to be in one place.
He's all over. He's lined up out at essentially what would be a nickel position in their 4-3. He's been a defensive end. He's lined up as a mugged up inside linebacker, playing a true middle stacked linebacker. He can literally do it all. He is a dynamic player. Somebody you have to account for. They also have good players around him that you see times where they also utilize him to get protection calls and things like that, and an attack opposite. So they know what they're doing. They do a good job with him, and just his versatility of what he can do as a rusher, but also there in coverage. You gotta be aware of him.
And that was all based on scouting Perkins a year ago when he was really just playing the jack linebacker. Now, To Matt House's great credit, and he deserves a ton of credit for this, the challenge early, and the coaches were talked about this pretty openly, the challenge was a year ago Harold Perkins was playing the jack linebacker spot. Well, you had B.J. Ojulari playing there. So the challenge was, how do we get both guys on the field without being susceptible in the back end? Like, how do we have both these guys on the field without taking out a defensive back? Because then ultimately what some teams adjusted to do was Perkins would have to travel, so they'd flex a guy out, and they would take Perkins out of the box. Well, you don't want Harold Perkins in pass coverage. Not that he couldn't do it, but he's not a defensive back. There's just guys who could do it better. So to Matt House's great credit, he found ways to get creative to get Perkins on the field with Ojulari. And it's going to be even easier to get Perkins on the field this year because he is a true three-down linebacker because he can do everything. He can stop the run. He can rush the passer. He can turn and cover a tight end. He can do all of that stuff, which makes him that much more valuable. And even Norvell, like they asked him, like when you're scouting this team, how when accounting for Perkins, how much does that impact your scouting?
It's built around matchups, and we try to put our guys in the best situation to go showcase all that they can do. And when you're facing teams that value and utilize the versatility of guys' skill set, then you got to be aware of that. But there's sometimes that it's more extreme in what you have to do, and then it kind of limits probably a little bit of the volume of what you're going to try to do. You're going into a game one. I mean, you got to expect it all. We've been doing things that they've shown. We're doing things that who knows, maybe they've never shown. But just what if? We're trying to. That's our job as coaches, and utilizing walkthroughs, utilizing those times. This last week, just trying to play every scenario of what could happen and kind of go from there.
Have you looked at? Really looked and remembered what LSU was like a year ago in this game? The starting linebackers in this game a year ago were Greg Penn and Mike Jones. Your starting cornerbacks were Mekhi Garner and Colby Richardson. You had Jay Ward and Greg Brooks playing safety. I mean, y'all. And Major Burns, excuse me. It was Ward. So those were your fives. You started in a nickel. You had Richardson, Garner, Ward, Brooks, and Burns. I mean, you've got Brooks and Burns back, and Ward was a really good player, off to the NFL, but Colby Richardson, Mekhi Garner, I mean, Richardson didn't keep a job. Jark Bernard-Converse ultimately won that other starting job. And neither Greg Penn nor Mike Jones are starting this year. You're going to have Harold Perkins and Omar Spates. It's just dramatically different what you're looking at, what Florida State is going to be looking at defensively. When Mason Smith got injured, Mekhi Wingo went in, but all you had was Mekhi Wingo, Jaquelin Roy, and Jacoby and Guillory. But yes, you're really good with Ali Gay and B.J. Ojulari. But my point is, you held Florida State to 24 points last year in this game. Even with all of the defensive deficiencies that you had. Now, I would argue, just putting Harold Perkins on the field makes you exponentially better than you were defensively a year ago. Just having, in this game, just having on the field. I completely understand the questions. We've talked about the questions and concerns in the secondary. Perkins' impact in this game is massive. Would love it if Mason Smith were playing. He's not. We've got to get over that. But as much as we are talking about the secondary, and rightfully so, because I think LSU secondary, as I've said here, they are a gigantic question mark, and it may work out. Like, we didn't, at this point last year, weren't sold on. Look, Colby Richardson started the opener. Nobody knew what Mekhi Garner was going to be. Jark Bernard-Converse really studied you. Joe Fouché became a starter. A lot evolved. So that's going to evolve again this year. But Florida State has the most experienced offensive line in college football. Florida State's offensive line has a nation's best 307 games played and 214 combined starts. That is 41 games played and 35 starts combined, more than the next closest team. Florida State's offensive line, by far, is the most experienced offensive line in college football. LSU's offensive line has a combined 65 starts. Florida State has a combined 214. Okay? That Florida State offensive line against the LSU defensive front, for all we're talking about with the secondary, you got to have this front seven pressure Jordan Travis, stop the run, make them pass dependent, Harold Perkins wreck stuff, LSU's front seven, even without Mason Smith. That right there, to me, is as big a story as any in this ballgame. Now, I think LSU's going to score 30 on everybody they play this year. I think the offense is going to be really good. But if LSU's defense can replicate the performance a year ago, which wasn't great, I mean, Jordan Travis had a really good game. He threw for 260. I mean, Florida State put up 392 yards of total offense. Couldn't get him off the field on third down, 11 of 17. But you held him to 24 points. You had a couple of red zone situations after buff punts where you didn't allow a score. But you hold this team under 30, you're winning this game on Sunday. And I think that is a massive, massive challenge for LSU's front seven. As much as we're talking about the secondary, it's the front seven with Harold Perkins against that veteran offensive line. That's the game. That's the game within the game for LSU on Sunday. All right, it's after further review. I talked about that and a lot of other stuff on Sports Takeover with Michael Cauble, which me, Michael Cauble, Shea Dixon, we recorded that on Tuesday mornings. It airs Tuesday evenings at 6:30 on WBRZ+. Michael Cauble will join us next. Sean Fazende with us in hour number 3. We'll also, in 45 minutes, we're going to announce our Friends in Low Places ticket winner to win. Somebody won 2 sweet tickets in the Mockler Suite, courtesy of Mockler Beverage and Bud Light, for Saturday's Garth Brooks concert in the Superdome. We're going to announce the winner coming up in 45 minutes from right now. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA-16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. A little bit of a cool-off. How about it? 3 days worth of rain, and all of a sudden, it's 89 degrees right now. It's a lot better than 101, which is what we've been looking at every day. I'm telling y'all. We're almost to September. We're getting into fall. Time to get those fall vegetable gardens, those seeds in the ground. You want those fall bedding plants. They got them at Clegg's. They got full greenhouses. If you're a deer hunter, they got buck busters. They got deer corn. They're ready to roll for fall. They got great door hangers and other garden decor. Check it out at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. And remember, the Aeon mosquito barrier, they still got them. It's $24.99. It's $25. Go pick one up. You want to be done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time? You can be with the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. You'll find it at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm remembering what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour.
On the farm is kinda laid back. Ain't much an old country boy like me can't hack. It's early to rise, early in the sack. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, a simple kind of life never did me no harm.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Hit it! News you probably could have been into them. Here it comes. Shame on me. Shame on me.
Why?
Forgot to put the tractor on the set at the start of the show today.
You did forget
and
that.
And by the way, bleep both of you too. Mr. Video Studio Director over there.
Yeah, Paul.
I'm going to tell you what. Thanks for having my back on that one, Paulie. I mean...
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah! I mean, it's all of our bad. You know what? I'm putting the hat on. The hat.
Over the headphones? Oh, you should have gone over the headphones.
Oh, well, I don't even know that would work. Shout out to Sunshine. Your hometown John Deere dealer in... No, this just looks ridiculous.
That looks so good.
Your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. By the way, I was told... Little breaking news for you here. Really cool. You know, they've done NIL deals with Harold Perkins, Emory Jones, Will Campbell. Really good video coming up with the guy we were just talking about. He's a freak show linebacker.
Oh.
Might be in a tractor. Might just be in a tractor somewhere. Harold Perkins. Follow Sunshine on all of their social media. Twitter is at SunnyQuipJD. Facebook is Sunshine Quality. Type in Sunshine Quality, you'll see it. Anyway. Official tractor of the Saints, official equipment dealer of LSU Athletics. Sunshine's got 17 dealers, bunky and below. You want a John Deere? Passing by a golf course today, Muse. You know, it was the little vehicle that was getting all the equipment around the course.
I bet it was a John Deere.
It was a Deere. Sure was. You better believe it. People were cutting our grass. We have a grass crew that cuts our grass. I'm not gonna lie to you. It takes me 3 hours. I'd rather pay someone to do it. They were unloading the truck on Thursday when they come to our house. You know what they're getting off the little ramp?
John Deere.
You darn right it was a Deere. You want a John Deere in Louisiana? You're getting it from Sunshine. All right. Michael Cauble, WBRZ is. Well, you know, I can't just keep this on top of the headphones, can I?
You absolutely can.
Cobble's with us. Cauble, are you watching right now? Are you?
I am.
I know.
I think you should definitely have to keep it on for as long as the green is on the set, which is a great look.
I do love the green. Paul, can you go to the watch? I love the green on the set. I think it looks awesome. The panel. So this panel, if you can tell, the panel behind me is actually a tractor. Shout out to Cassie Spazzali, who designed this for us. That's a tractor, and then there's the green lights everywhere. It looks really good. I just feel really stupid. I don't feel like Elmer Fudd with the hat on top of the headphones. Be very, very
It's
quiet.
really good. It's a good look. They look like Marvin the Martian or something with that thing on.
Be very quiet. We're hunting for wabbits. That's what I feel like, Elmer Fudd. Not Marvin the Martian.
I will say I was perplexed when John Denver Country Boy came on because I'm thinking that's the oddest play-in music for me ever. But,
yeah, it wasn't for you at all.
Yeah.
Not
Quickly
you at all.
did I learn
Yeah,
that the boys let you down without the tractor on the set.
Can I ask you, is that, like, you're a media guy, should there be some degree of responsibility, or at least heads up there from the crew here? I mean, or is that 100%?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. They have to have your back. I mean, that's what they're there for. They're your support team.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean,
support Matt, for crying out loud.
I'm not trying to, I get it, but like, I'm not trying to dissolve myself or absolve myself of all blame. But I mean, there's 3 of us in here. Can someone not notice there's not a giant tractor on the set?
Who puts up the signage? Whenever that goes up, the
panels?
The tractor comes out. Yeah.
Paulie.
There you go, Paulie. I think we know who's at fault here.
And Paul O'Neill is the video studio director. Like, everything in this room, he is responsible for. Like, he is the guy.
There's a lot of responsibility that comes with the title of director.
He is that. Paul does an awesome job. Like, Paul, I've told Paul many times, he is not allowed to ever leave. It is not allowed. He can never leave, ever. But if he keeps forgetting that tractor, I'm going to tell you what.
You'll have him out there cutting your grass.
About face on a John Deere from Sunshine. Hey, so we recorded Sports Takeover today. Give people the skinny, the deets.
So Sports Takeover is where I get my friends over on TV, and we basically have a barroom conversation without the drinks. So it's not as fun as whiskey and wine. It's certainly not as off the rails as whiskey and wine. But,
there's no cursing either.
It's a lot looser. There's no cursing. It's a lot looser constructed. And basically it's just us getting something I don't get to do very often is, honest opinions on TV about the things that I cover every day. So it's just a much looser format. We go for a half an hour. We take over the 6:30 newscast on WBRZ Plus, and I have Matt Moscona and Shea Dixon join me to talk LSU Tiger football. We do it for baseball as well, and we do it during football season.
You have a new open for the show, which I saw today. And you took one of the most ridiculous moments of me from a year ago and led the open with it.
And we'll just do truth in broadcasting here. We also misspelled Matt's name right out of the gate, which is one of the first things that we saw. I will say I will take the blame for it, even though it wasn't me. But we did get it fixed.
Good. Okay, good.
So no one at home will be any of the wiser when they see it tonight.
It's what I thought while we're sitting there recording it. I thought about making a subtle reference or a jab to it, but then I was like, well, they might edit it before the show. Right. But I know if we were live to tape and if it were able to be edited. So anyway, but it's 6:30 WBRZ Plus. It'll be Tuesdays heretofore. Cauble, me, Shea for 30 minutes at 6:30 Central Time on WBRZ Plus. Does it live in perpetuity? Like, can people go stream it somewhere?
Yeah, we put it on YouTube after this.
Okay,
so,
cool.
I will tweet the link, and then we can and then I'll tag you in it, and so everybody could watch it if they want. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's a lot. It's funny. I was listening to your last segment, and I was thinking to myself, man, did Matt steal my content from Takeover to talk about this? Because that's kind of what we talked about, how we hadn't been talking about Harold Perkins.
Well, in fairness, talking about Harold Perkins isn't exactly like stealing anybody's content. I mean, he's kind of like the best defensive player in college football.
You mean there weren't weeks of unearthing and digging going into that?
Who could be an impact player defensively? Hey, but listen, I did share with you, which I've told my audience before, but I said it as bold and plainly as I could on the show today, that I think I'm picking LSU to win the SEC, go to the playoff, and to win the national championship. Where are you, big picture? How do you see the season going for LSU?
I'm not there with you. I think it's going to be a good season, but I think there's still just and it's funny is like our conversation about cornerbacks really kind of made me kind of reinforce my thoughts that I just feel like there's a couple of losses on this team somewhere. Now, could it be one? Absolutely. Could it be two? Possibly. Is it more than that? No, I don't think so. So I'm a 10-2 kind of guy right now. I think it matters, obviously, the games that you lose. I don't feel great about this opener. I think Jordan Travis is a very accomplished quarterback. I think they have some quality there along the offense, and I think LSU's defense is problematic for them early in this season. I think there's going to be an acclimation period for some of the new guys and some of the positions that they're playing that I think could be an issue for this team as they progress. So I think the opener is going to be a challenge. Now, having said that, I think, as we talked about on the show, I think the floor is very high, right? And it did surprise me, though, when you were as boldly proclaiming as you were about LSU's potential for success this season.
I think they got a great coach. I think he showed last year they get better as the season goes along. I think this team will as well. I think Matt House is a fantastic defensive coordinator. What he molded out of that group last year was nothing short of amazing, and he's got better pieces this year, quite honestly, across the board. And I think everybody else in the SEC has real questions. Like I think Alabama is a 3-loss football team this year. Different.
No, I mean I see a path. I agree with you on
different
Bama.
Different jersey. Nobody's picking Alabama to win the national championship. And so part of it is getting there, Cobbs. I mean, you got to get there. And I think this team can. Like in 2019, I don't know if you remember, but do you remember what your preseason prediction was in 2019?
Probably 10-2.
Yeah, because it's really easy to pick them to go 10-2.
Yeah.
To find the spot where you think they might break through is the really challenging. By the way, I'm not throwing stones because I bet you I had them at probably 10-2 or 11-1 as well in 2019. Like 2007 was probably a year where a lot of people picked them to win the Natty. BCS era, it was different, right, at that time. And I think going into that season, LSU was preseason number 2, maybe about behind USC. But my point is, we've seen this 4-year cycle, right? 03, 07, 2011. I mean, 15 was great until they went to Tuscaloosa. And then 19, they won it. Now here you are 4 years later. For whatever reason.
God, you're right. Wow, I hadn't put that together.
That 4-year cycle, for whatever reason, has held for this program for 20 years. So, yeah. Man, I think they make a run. I mean, is it totally possible they go 10-2 and end up in a New Year's 6? Absolutely. That's probably more probable. But I look around the league, man, and it's more about, I think I love Jaden Daniels as a fifth-year starting quarterback in this league where the rest of the quarterbacks in this league are not good. You can tell me Will Rogers, KJ Jefferson, what are we talking about?
Well, with the talent surrounding him, too. Like, we talked about it today. We didn't talk about Mason Taylor at all. I just think that dude is a beast. I think, he is going to have a huge year. And then you look at the receiving core that they have that goes along with them. Yes, you're absolutely right. I just feel like there's 3 games where LSU's going to get challenged: Florida State, A&M, and Alabama. And how they navigate those games, we're going to ultimately, obviously, decide their season. I know, not going out on a branch there. I just don't love the secondary, the way that it's comprised right now. And you said they have better talent this year. I'm wondering if that's true based on, the secondary.
I think if I were to go look at measurables.
Yeah, I mean, no, we were doing this to Colby Richardson last year. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what for what in that regard. But, yeah, it just doesn't feel great going into it. Again, would you love to have a week 0 game where you could really stretch your legs and show some things? Absolutely. But you don't. You have a pretty solid team in Florida State that can get after you defensively.
And you played like poo-poo against this team a year ago and still damn near beat them. I mean, everyone talks about the block PAT. Nobody talks about how much of a 3-hour steaming pile of garbage that game was. I mean, LSU was awful in that football game a year ago.
Well, it was all because of their offensive line, too.
Yes!
I mean, you think about the issues that they had in that game, and, it really was an eye-opener, and Jaden Daniels saved the day, right, for most of it, just improvising, it felt like. So now that it's a much more put-together offense, and he's a much more established quarterback, do you feel like that is going to be the difference maker? Obviously, you do. I do think, I think I saw the line is 66 maybe. I think, it's going to be a little high-scoring affair and just kind of see who comes out on top.
Oh, if it's you're talking about the total, the over-under?
Yeah, I think so.
You say 66?
I thought so. Did I see that
I thought I saw it at 58. It is Muse, do you know offhand? I'm looking for no, it's 50. It's 56. I'm looking at here. 56.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
66. That's aggressive. Okay, I got to go. He's on Twitter at Cauble. Sports Takeover on WBRZ Plus, 6:30 Central Time every Tuesday with me, Cauble, and Shay on WBRZ Plus Tuesdays at 6:30. We'll do it every Tuesday.
It's gonna be awesome.
All right. That's Matt Moscona for you. Thanks, Cauble.
Later, buddy.
All right, we'll see you. Muso has Tigers in the Pros next.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge EV. ProChargeEV.com. Electric vehicle charging stations for your home or commercial building. Learn more at ProChargeEV.com. More green. Look at that. We got green everywhere over the set today. ProChargeEV.com. Hey, if you're a business owner, if you have a commercial building, even if you're like a dentist, okay, you have a dentist office, you can put a charger in your parking lot at your office. And when someone's driving an EV, their GPS will tell them where the nearest charger is. So it could be that you're generating passive revenue at your office because when anybody driving an EV drives by, they pull it into your office, they stop, they plug in their vehicle, they charge, tap to pay. You're making passive revenue, and ProCharge monitors the whole thing and manages the whole thing for you. It can be an amenity for employees, for customers. Learn more. ProChargeEV.com. ProChargeEV.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what we're working on for our stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. 24 hours after the media obtained body camera video of an interrogation warehouse where a lawyer alleges his client was tortured, the mayor has forbidden the use of it, and an investigation is underway to determine what actually happened there. It comes as the cop accused of excessive force resigned from his job. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, NFL transactions.
Look what I'm doing.
I don't know what you're doing. There's chips, potato chips,
popcorn.
Oh, popcorn! Look at this guy.
I'm getting my popcorn ready.
You got a movie? You got a movie right now?
I heard Paul Skeens pitch yesterday. Getting my popcorn ready.
Well, Paul Skeens pitched on Saturday.
No. Heard Paul Skeen
It didn't go well for Paul Skeen. 4 earned and 2/3.
Yeah, why didn't you have that yesterday in Tigers in the Pros?
Because we had a plethora of other things.
Way to be on top
Tigers
of it,
in the
Hughes.
Pros. I mean, I knew it happened.
Got my popcorn ready.
Anyway, NFL transactions from today. A surprising move out of Carolina. The Panthers decided to cut former Pro Bowl linebacker Deion Jones. And that happened less than a month after signing him to a 1-year deal. Jones now hits the open market for now. We'll see if the Panthers pick him back up or somebody else is bound to. Played in 11 games with Cleveland last season. Neil Farrell Jr. has a new home, and it's a pretty darn good one. The defending Super Bowl champions. Neil Farrell traded to the Chiefs for a 6th-round pick. In his rookie season last year, appeared in 9 regular season games for the Las Vegas Raiders. Major League Baseball, Kevin Gausman last night picked up his 10th win of the season. 5 innings, 3 earned, and 7 punch-outs against the Nationals. 7 punch-outs are significant because Kevin Gausman last night became the first pitcher in the American League to reach 200 Ks on the season. Alex Lang was on the bump last night for the Tigers in a losing effort. It wasn't his fault, though. He actually threw a shutout inning of relief and punched out one against the New York Yankees. DJ LeMahieu wore the collar at the top of that order. And finally, Sam Burns. He will be a member of the Ryder Cup team as Team USA heads to Rome to face Europe. Captain's pick for Sam Burns, coming off a tied for 9th finish in the Tour Championship in the FedEx Cup playoffs. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com. Gentlemen, it's where all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 30 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, Corporate Boulevard in Bocage, Mall of Louisiana, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sports Center's coming up. When we come back, I want to talk LSU special teams, in particular Aaron Anderson, and then Sean Fazende will be with us in hour number 3 as well, talking some Saints. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. Tell you every day to go check out the website. It's such a great resource. If you go to Michelli.com, you can see all of the different products or all the different services that they offer, everything that they can calibrate. It's Michelli.com. 76 years in business. It's incredible. 76 years in business. They're a local option. You know, if you have a device that needs to be calibrated, why ship it to a lab in Chicago or something? Like, box it, pack it, ship it, they calibrate it, ship it back to you. And in instances, I was talking to Joel over there, saying, man, there's some calibrations that should take 7 to 10 days. In instances outside of the state, it's taking 8 to 10 weeks. Who has time for that? Michelli Weighing and Measurement. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. Learn more online at Michelli.com. Again, Michelli, Michelli.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Running back Jonathan Taylor is still a member of the Colts. Indy did not find what it felt was a fair value offer for the All-Pro and is not trading him today, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Colts had given him a deadline of today to find a deal. Taylor will stay on the PUP list and miss at least the first 4 games of the season. The Bills will be without pass rusher Von Miller at minimum the first 4 weeks as well. He'll remain on the PUP list. ESPN NFL analyst Mina Kimes.
It's obviously not super long-term. It's important to note, but it does present a unique problem for Buffalo if he misses any more time. Because of how this defense is built, they have a very specific identity. They do not blitz very much, amongst the lowest rates in the NFL. They want to come out in nickel, sit back in zone, and get pressure with 4.
Miller's recovering from ACL surgery. About 8 months after suffering cardiac arrest during a game, safety Damar Hamlin's made the Bills' 53-man roster. Angels placed nearly a quarter of their roster on waivers, including starter Lucas Giolito, relievers Matt Moore, and Reynaldo Lopez. By waiving them, LA gives the players away for nothing but salary relief in return.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Bill Bender was here in hour number 1, talking some college football. Scott Shanle was here 1 hour ago. If you missed it, highly recommend go back, check that conversation out. Scott had some great perspective from a guy who played 10 years in the league, came into the league as a 7th-round pick with the Rams, then went to the Cowboys, into the Saints, was traded right around the end of training camp and went through a lot of those cut days. Was he going to make the team on the fence? Made just some great perspective on Jalen Smith being cut today, on trading Wil Lutz, on why Andrews Pete made the team, Jimmy Graham. Great convo. Highly recommend you go check it out on demand. Of course, AFR On Demand brought to you every day by Breck Golf. Book your teatimegolf.breck.org. Bottom of this hour, our buddy Sean Fazende will be here. I'll get Sean's take on cut day, but also the Saints practiced in the afternoon today. Sean was there, media availability, all the stuff. So we'll find out what went on at practice today when Sean's with us at the bottom of this hour. LSU was awful last year at special teams. You know that. That's not any breaking news. We've talked about it a lot in this offseason. Talked about it a lot last year, including the opener when you muffed a couple of punts and you had a PAT block that would have tied it, and then all throughout the season it never really changed. Do you realize in the special teams efficiency rating, LSU was 127th last year out of 131 teams? That's impossibly bad. At a place like LSU, with the amount of resources you have, the talent you have on the field, to be 127th out of 131 teams in a special teams efficiency ranking is unforgivable. That's why Brian Polian's not a coach on the field at LSU anymore. Just to spell it out a little more, LSU's opponents had 706 kick return yards last year. LSU had 327. On average, LSU's opponents on kickoff returns averaged 23.5 yards per return, LSU 20.4. Punt return. You know how many yards LSU averaged on punt returns last year? You want to take a guess? Paulie, Muse, y'all know? LSU punt return average yards per return last year.
2.
Not 2.
I'll say 8.
It's 3.3. They averaged 3.3 yards. That's essentially you caught the ball and fell down forward. I mean, that's terrible. This is a place that has boasted Eddie Kennison and Kevin Falk and Dominic Davis and Skylar Green and Trendon Holiday and Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Odell Beckham, DJ Chark, Dante Jackson, Derek Stingley, even Trey Palmer return a kickoff for a touchdown in Tiger Stadium, letting Condon die in peace. That streak that Eric Martin had started back against Kentucky in 1981 finally came to an end. And they averaged 3 yards a punt return last year. That's terrible. Charles Barkley would say, that's terrible. And it was. They cannot possibly be worse. Brian Kelly said it on Monday. Special teams, they should be really good at special teams coming up this year.
They got to field the ball. They've got to be able to do the little things the right way. But from a special team standpoint, that's what we were looking for. Our miscues last year were evident, right? We didn't field the ball very well. But that coupled with Damon Ramos has been outstanding, with field goals throughout camp. And Jay Bramlett has been a weapon. We think special teams should and can be a positive for us and influence games.
Jay Bramlett wasn't bad last year. LSU's coverage was bad. LSU's net punting average was 39.4 yards. Your net average, again, so that's the punt. Bramlett averaged 43 yards a punt, but the net was terrible. 39 yards net on a punt. Your opponents netted 43.2 yards. Hell, sometimes you didn't even bother fielding it. Just let it bounce around. It was always an adventure, man. Should be better. How could you be worse? Brian Kelly did announce something we had been waiting for, which is who the returners were going to be, considering we've seen a lot of guys back there rotating and working at punt return and kickoff return.
We're going to go with a true freshman and Caleb Jackson as the off returner. And, I think, having, a dynamic player.
He's looking for it.
At the other side, who am I missing? Who's my dynamic player? Aaron. He's pretty dynamic. He'll be the on-ball returner and our punt returner.
Hey, Brian, I get it, bro. Same thing happened to me yesterday. I just could not think of Nick Underhill's name. I know him. Known him a long time. It's like when Muse and I were talking about it. It's like when your mom can't remember your name, She calls you all the other kids' names. She calls you the dog's name. It's just not coming to the forefront of your mind. I get it, Brian. But then again, when he does it all the time, like the Cody Dickerson and the Kobe Taylor and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it, Muse. I got it. We're good. No need to say anything. Just let me hang out there on a limb, Muse.
Look, he struggles with names. Look, he kind of stinks at names. Let's just be honest.
You couldn't have said that 13 seconds ago so we didn't have this awkward long pause.
He's coached
radio, Muse. You gotta talk.
Long time. There's been a lot of kids, a lot of players. And, I mean, look, the Cody Dickerson thing was – because he called him Kobe Dickerson, too.
This would be a great time to play that song.
Yeah, I know, but that's going to make a longer pause because it's just – no. I'd have to go fish it. That's what I'm saying.
Didn't you just have it up? Never mind. Okay, don't worry about it.
You set me up for failure. We were just setting each other up for failure there. That was not good.
In the break, you were reading off the clips because you had them open.
I know, and then I closed to go and play something else out of Adobe, and I
Okay. All right.
This is not the point.
Stop. We're good. Okay. I think LSU, Paul, cut all that out of the YouTube video, please. Splice all of that out of the YouTube clip. I think Aaron Anderson cannot help but make LSU better. All of the reason that people are optimistic about him, you should be. I know he had a knee injury last year, which cost him the bulk of his season at Alabama. I think he played one game for Alabama last year. That was an Alabama team that really struggled to find relevant receiving help. They brought in the transfer from Louisville, whose name I never remember. Call me Brian Kelly. But they just never found it in that receiving core last year after they lost Jamison Williams to the NFL and a great receivers from 2 years ago. Aaron Anderson would have helped them tremendously. And he is LSU's great, to LSU's great benefit, he'll be wearing the purple and gold on Sunday. And I will make this prediction. This is not a super bold prediction, but I'll tell you, I believe we will see Aaron Anderson touch the ball in 3 different ways on Sunday. He will return a kick, be it a punt or a field goal or a kickoff. We will see him catch a pass, and we will see him with at least one rushing attempt. Where we saw Malik Neighbors in the bowl game on that jet sweep, and he did beautifully with it. Aaron Anderson will do that on Sunday. I can almost guarantee it. It's like when you had Trenton Holiday. You're just guaranteed he was going to put him in the game, put him in motion. Everybody knows what's coming, but when you get that dude a running head start, good luck beating him to the edge. That's kind of what it's going to be like. So Aaron Anderson will make LSU better. Damian Ramos had a good year last year. He wasn't Cade York, but I think Ramos was let's see there. LSU was 10 of 14 on field goals last year. And 59 of 61 on PATs. Of course, they had the 2 blocked. So Ramos had a good year kicking the football. Bramblett was good. You just couldn't cover the punts. Dybert is a perfectly serviceable kickoff guy. You got to get better in the return game, and you got to be able to cover kicks and punts better. That's really where LSU was terrible. Anderson makes you more dynamic in the return game immediately. And we talked so much in this offseason about how LSU has committed starters, guys on the 2 deep, to their coverage units, which is going to make them better. You're putting your better players on the field. I don't know how much better they're going to be. I'm not going to tell you that they're going to go from being the 4th to the bottom of college football in special teams efficiency to being top 5. But even if you're 50% better, and you're in the middle of the pack of college football, you're dramatically better than you were. And I think that is a realistic expectation for this team year to year. We'll know very, very quickly. All right, it's after further review. Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. Check them out online. See their entire inventory. Remember, if it's on the lot, it's online at southpointvw.com. You can see about all their great deals. If it's 3.9% APR for 72 months on the Atlas or on the Cross Sport, you want to drive new inventory from South Point Volkswagen, they got it there. You can do an inventory search right there on the homepage. Year, make, model, body style, price. Narrow it down by whatever it is you're looking for. You want to build your own vehicle, you can. If there's specific features you want, you could do that. Erica did that with her Atlas that she drives now. She wanted these tricked out wheels on it and everything. It's like you work at an elementary school, but she's rolling through there every day. You can check it out at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highlander, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Been a really good show. We're going to get to Sean Fazende coming up here in about 15 minutes. When we come back, we will catch you up on all, if you've missed it, we'll catch you up on all of the Saints roster cuts from today. Certainly the notable ones. We'll run through it all. And we will announce our winner when we come back for the Friends in Low Places giveaway. Well, let's see the video that was ultimately the winner. That's winning 2 sweet tickets to see Garth in New Orleans on Saturday there at the Dome. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
A little bit of a cool-off today. You say that, it's still 89 degrees right now. But we'll take it over 102. But if you have trouble with your home central AC, you know what to do. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or oneourbr.com. You can check them out online there at oneourbr.com. But remember, they always work nights, holidays, weekends. They never charge you extra to come out nights, holidays, or weekends. Here's a 5-star Google review that came in from S. Mont, who said, Michael and his team member were great. I was glad he was able to get my AC back up and running. Also, let me know about issues I may have in the future due to the way my unit was installed. It's another 5-star Google review, and it's something that I always mention. You can buy an HVAC unit from almost anywhere, but every single installation job matters to the efficiency, the life expectancy of that unit. So you got to do it right the first time. River City's 1 Hour Air always knocks that out the park. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Okay, we're going to get to, if you missed it, NFL roster cuts today. Saints got down to 53. Some notable, certainly notable roster cuts, and some guys who made it. We'll get to that in a second. But you've heard us for the past couple of weeks. We've been promoting a really cool giveaway from our friends at Mockler Beverage, courtesy of our friends at Mockler, Bud Light, official beer of AFR, official beer of the LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, Southern Jaguars, great community partners and have been for 40 years. I say it all the time, man. If you have a charity that, or a church, an organization, or something that you support, you've had an event where you've had Mockler, Bud products there, that's Mockler contributing to your organization. They've just been awesome community partners. And they get some really cool opportunities, and we've been fortunate enough that they've extended that to us here. So they've got a suite. Mockler has a suite in the Superdome. And so for all events and everything, they generally have tickets in their suite for those events. And they came to me a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, Matt, we'd like to give you 2 tickets to the Garth Brooks show to give away on your show. You pick how you do it. So we came up with an idea for a promotion we called Friends in Low Places, obviously. And we asked you to make a video, 60 seconds or less, with you and your friends in low places. No really other, just to be as creative as you wanted to be or could be with that. So we got a bunch of submissions, so thank you to everybody who participated and had a lot of fun with it. But we have our winning video, and the winner is, without further ado, Rob Joyner, who we're going to play it for you. But those who are listening and not watching, Rob essentially, he's, I guess, in a band, and they're at a bar, and he created a sort of Bud Light version of Friends in Low Places that they played at a bar. It's only about a minute. Hit it, Paul, if you could.
There's one thing I hear sent from the king of beers. They're making a comeback today. That bartender's got a Bud Light, and she's sending it my way. Call all your friends, call all your neighbors, tell them it's gonna be huge. I'm picking up the phone and dialing 225. I'm calling Baton Rouge. I love how Bud Light tastes. I've had kegs, I drank it by the case. Yeah, I love how Bud Light tastes.
It was really well done. Now, my biggest question, though, so congrats to Rob Joyner, but he's got a huge conundrum on his hand. You know what this is.
Who does he take? Is that where we're going? Yeah.
Oh, my God. He got I guess he's in a band. He got his band to play the song with him. I mean, he got someone on the steel guitar. He's got a drummer. He's got all these, you only get 2 tickets, brother. You can't just rotate people in by the song. So
do we think he wrote that by himself, or did he have help? Because that's the real easy thing, right? If someone helped him write that,
that's true.
He takes that person.
That's true.
But if he wrote it by himself,
I don't know. But anyway, congrats to Rob Joyner, who will be there watching Garth in the Mockler Suite on Saturday. He and a guest, a lucky band member. Maybe he's married. I don't know, bring his wife, whatever the case may be. But congrats to Rob. Really, really well done and super creative. Exactly what we wanted. Thanks to our friends at Mockler Beverage for putting up the 2 tickets for us to give away on air. We appreciate y'all. And do fun stuff like that. We'll have many more opportunities to do more fun stuff like that. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. If you need tires, buy them where they're the cheapest. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbills. And remember, our friends at Shawbills are always looking for help. So if you're thinking about a career instead of a job, whether you have experience in the auto service industry or not, Shawbills wants to talk to you. And I'll tell you forever, they treat you like family. That is certainly the case with all of their employees. So the best benefits package that you'll find anywhere in the business, from holidays and weekends off, and to an employee tool program, a tool purchase program. You find it all. Shawbills is just the best. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, it is After Further Review. The Saints have formally released their 53-man roster and their transactions. So I'll run through it very quickly for those that haven't heard yet. The absolute latest on the 53-man roster. So here's what the Saints did today. They've terminated the contracts of 8 players, and they waived 26 players. Now, and then of course they traded Wil Lutz to Denver. So here are the players that were cut. Ryan Connolly. It's unfortunate, of course. Ryan Connolly had the knee injury in camp, but Ryan Connolly, J.P. Holtz, Jesse James, Storm Norton, Bradley Roby was a little bit of a surprise. Jalen Smith, another veteran that was a surprise, seeing him cut. Ty Summers, and then Darrell Williams, the LSU running back Darrell Williams, was cut as well. Here are the players that were waived. And so again, if you're waived, you're exposed to the waiver wire. If a team puts in a waiver claim for you, then they have to sign you to their active roster. If you clear waivers, then the Saints are free to re-sign that player to the practice squad or whatever it may be. Here's the players that were waived. Jonathan Abram, Nick Anderson from Tulane, Kwan Baker, former 7th-round pick of the Saints, Jake Bargas, the fullback out of North Carolina, Lynn Bowden out of Kentucky, very versatile player, could really help you on special teams, not only as a returner, but covering kicks and punts. Jerron Cage, defensive lineman out of Ohio State. That's a guy who many believe is, if he clears waivers, will end up on the Saints practice squad. Shaq Davis, the wide receiver out of South Carolina State, who had a really good camp in preseason. Another one they would certainly love to see clear waivers and end up on the practice squad. Prince Emili, Mark Evans, the offensive lineman. Chuck Filiaga, the offensive guard out of Minnesota. Adrian Fry. Punter Blake Gillikin was waived today. So that was a little bit of a surprise there, that the Saints apparently are going a different direction at punter. So both of their specialists gone today. Jack Heflin, who played defensive line in the XFL this past year. Anthony Johnson, the defensive back out of Virginia, who could well find his way back. Lewis Kidd, Jontre Kirkland was waived. Tommy Kramer, Lucas Krull, who had the really good preseason, just not enough room at tight end. Nico Lalo, same story there. Ellis Merriweather, the running back out of UMass. Smoke Monday could be back. Anthony Orji out of Vanderbilt could be back on the practice squad. Kyle Phillips, Alex Filstrom, Troy Pride, and then Calvin Throckmorton also waived today. And that tells you that ultimately they made the decision that they are keeping Andres Pete on the roster. And Nick Saldiveri, who was their 4th-round pick, an interior lineman out of Old Dominion. If you're going to keep 7 offensive linemen, 7 or 8, depending on how it goes, look, you're keeping a 3rd quarterback, right? Clearly. So if you're keeping a 3rd quarterback, you're going to be thin somewhere else. You're keeping a 4th tight end with Jimmy Graham, so that takes another roster spot somewhere. Is it on the offensive line? Maybe. So you need a versatile player. The thing about Andres Pete is he can play both guard and tackle for you. So maybe that's what they're thinking. You got your starting 5. You keep Nick Saldiveri, and then whether Pete or Hurst ends up winning the left guard job, both those guys can play both guard and tackle. It makes you a little more versatile. So in any event, There's your list. We did not read out Max Garcia's name, so presumably he has made the team as well as a guy that could be a backup center. And that so that way, if you need a backup center, you're not sliding Cesar Ruiz over to center from guard. But Saints get down to 53, but as we always say, it's the first 53. It's not the final 53. There will be many, many, many more roster changes over the next 24, 48 hours as some 1,200 or so free agents hit the market all in one day. There will be players who the Saints will put a waiver claim in. So, look, this is what happened with Taysom Hill years ago. The Packers exposed Taysom Hill to waivers, thought he'd clear waivers that could sign on the practice squad. Saints put a waiver claim in, and he's been a New Orleans Saint ever since. So there's going to be somebody like that. And then likely some got Traquan Smith. Like Traquan Smith made the team. It's very possible Traquan goes straight to IR. He made the team. They put him on IR. That frees up a roster spot. So we'll keep our eye on that and see here over the next 24 hours or so. Let me knock out a break. Saints were back on the practice field today. And Sean Fazende, our buddy from Fox 8 New Orleans, was down there. He'll join us next to talk about not only the 53-man roster, but what he saw at practice today. We'll get to that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company all in one place. You know where to find them, agent225.com. That's agent225.com. I remember when Erica and I were buying our first home, and one of the things I told Darren is, look, we're probably going to start a family, in the next, 3 to 5 years. So at some point, we're probably going to need to sell this home and get a little more size. So I want to buy something that suits what we want, but we're going to have a high resale value on it in an appreciating market, an area of town. And Darren absolutely nailed that. Found us the perfect house. We sold it, took the money we made on that home, put it as the down payment on our second home, which he helped us find in the neighborhood where we knew we wanted to be, but we're being patient. My point is, no matter what you're looking for, if you're buying or selling, having Darren James on your side is going to give you the best possible outcome. Agent225.com. Again, online, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best kept secret in town is
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, Sean Fazende, Fox 8 in New Orleans, good enough to join us. How are you, dude?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's a day like today, like for you and the Saints media whenever you're just constantly trying to look at transaction wire and find out who made this team and who didn't?
That's just it. You get up early. You start calling your people, texting your people, emailing your people, seeing what's happening in terms of who got released, who's going to make the initial 53, who's getting waived, who could potentially be back on the practice squad. Starts early. Probably actually kind of started last night, if we're being honest. And then you just hour by hour, minute by minute, just kind of keep scanning the wire, scanning Twitter, scanning, checking your phone to see if you got any new information. And then 3 o'clock rolls around, and the Saints sent out the press release on what officially happened. And we got a few of those names out beforehand, and as I'm sure everyone saw, they were following along all day. But pretty much how it goes. One of those wait by the phone kind of days. Yeah. Just kind of roll with it.
Any surprises?
Yeah, a couple. And I didn't see a single person, myself included, that had Bradley Roby getting cut. I really didn't. To me, he was the clear choice, at least in terms of practice and what we saw at that nickel position. I know it's tough to say how much money played into it, but he certainly alluded to the fact that, cap concerns and/or, money concerns was a factor in him getting released. I know it was about $3 or $3.5 million they would save, something like that. I'd have to go back and check the official number. But so now you have Alontae Taylor and Ugo Amadi that can play the nickel position. But that's there. Neither one of those guys were as strong as Bradley Roby in camp. So it is a little bit of a risky move. But of the guys that were cut, that was probably the one that came from out of left field the most, just because I didn't see a single person that projected Bradley Roby to be cut today. And so that would be my number one surprise.
How about Blake Gillikin?
Yeah. Here's the thing, Matt. In our shows down here, I was asked, what position would the Saints be looking around at to possibly add? And I said punter because I didn't feel like either guy won the competition. I thought Blake Gillikin had really dropped off this year. He was wildly inconsistent, but it wasn't like I saw a whole lot from Lou Headley in the limited time we were able to see him at practice. He had a few moments, and he's the Aussie style, and there's certainly some benefit to that. But I didn't think either one of those guys won the competition. And I had heard there was some, look, Gillikin had been struggling with some inconsistencies. We saw that, but I also had heard that was a concern for the squad. So not necessarily shocked that they looked elsewhere there, but I got to be honest, I thought the answer would come from another team, because I didn't think either guy at punter. A lot of attention was paid at the kicker, but at punter, I didn't think either guy performed particularly well.
Reaction to the decision at kicker to trade Wil Lutz?
Look, I think it's an interesting move. I thought both guys had really good camps. I thought it's a little bit bold to go with the rookie, the fresh face, as opposed to the incumbent. I didn't think Wil Lutz did a lot to lose that job, and then they were able to get compensation for him from the Denver Broncos and the former Saints head coaches over there now. So they look at it as they got a guy that they believe can kick in the league in groupie, but doesn't have the experience. But they also got an asset in that 7th round pick, or whatever it ended up being. I think it was a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
For Wil Lutz. So maybe that played a role in the tiebreaker. The fact that you kind of got a couple things there, as opposed to just letting the guy walk and not getting anything. who knows? Well, look, it's a big decision. Obviously, it's a big responsibility. But I thought Groupie performed well, and we thought he had that moment for the 60-yarder, and he had the leg. He just kind of pushed it, but it felt at that point, well, man, if he makes that, maybe he makes the roster. Well, it turns out he made the roster anyway. We just talked to him in the locker room a few minutes ago. He's certainly excited for the opportunity. Mm-hmm. So bold move, but I wasn't totally shocked at that one.
Let's get his picture to every security guard to make sure they let him in the Superdome. It's an important guy for this team now. He's on Twitter at Sean Fazende, Fox 8. You'll give him a follow. But I want to ask you about practice table one more. Who are some of the guys, the names that seem like obvious practice squad choices that they'd love to be back if they clear waivers?
Absolutely. Shaq Davis would be number one on my list in terms of practice squad possibilities. Ellis Merriweather, the running back, is another one that could return in a practice squad sort of role. Jonte Kirkland, the LSU guy, really finished out camp in preseason well, so we'll see if he's a guy that they could potentially bring back. I'm not sure if it's practice squad, but I asked Dennis Allen specifically if there's a chance Jalen Smith will return. He said absolutely there's a chance. So that felt like a procedural kind of move with Jalen Smith, so we'll see if he ends up coming back as well. I don't know if it's going to be active roster or practice squad. So those will be the names that would jump off the page right away in terms of obvious practice squad guys. And there could be a couple more. Lucas Krull is another one who was waived, but he's shown some growth. But you could tell there's just a little bit more refinement he needs in his game to get onto that active roster. So those would be a couple of guys that would jump out.
What is practice like today? I mean, you go from 90 to 53. So what's it? I mean, what do they do today? What's it like as they make that transition? Yeah,
it was weird. I mean, first off, they're in regular season mode, so we couldn't stay the whole time. But they didn't even have the practice squad set, so it was even lighter than what you would see in a regular season practice. I mean, it really thinned out from 90 to 53, and it was even less because Jameis wasn't there with a wrist injury. A couple of other guys that are on the initial 53 that are still banged up, like Taysom, Traquan, Landon Young. Those guys weren't there either. So, excuse me. So it was really thin. It was like you draw out your roster projection. You put each three at quarterback, 4 at running back. Well, then you look at the position groups, and there they all are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So it thins out, and they weren't doing much. It was a quick practice. They weren't even in. I don't even think they were in shells today. So light work, but I guess look, any practice is a good practice. So they got a little bit of work in today.
So they're 12 days away thereabouts, if I'm not mistaken, from the opener. So what's it like now? I mean, they'll get into game week. I know next week, but so is this week pretty standard, sort of like walkthroughs? What are they doing now?
Yeah, we were thinking about this. I can't ever recall having a practice that started like 10 minutes after the cutdown deadline. So this is somewhat new to us, this little bonus week here. I can't recall if that happened last year. For some reason, I always recall cutdown day being on a Saturday in years past. But so it's a little different this week. DA said they're going to do some light work, but also they're going to start some game planning. Why wouldn't you? I mean, why wouldn't you get it a little bit ahead of the game? I'm sure Tennessee's doing the same thing. So it won't be full on, everything game plan wise. They'll start their game planning process. And, once they get the practice squad in, then they'll have a full go of everything, which I guess would really start next week. But it's just kind of hey, we're all together. We're all here. Let's get together and get a little workout in and, get a little ahead on the bonus game planning as well for Tennessee. So they got the days, they got the time. They might as well get it done.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, Sean. I was thinking whenever there were 4 preseason games, everybody played their last preseason game on Thursday.
On a Thursday, that's correct.
And so, obviously, so then everybody would have the full complement of a week to get ready for week 1. So now that's obviously changed with the 3 preseason games. The Saints playing on Sunday. It did. So you're probably right. I mean, the fact that they were the last of the preseason games probably did make this schedule push a little bit weirder than what it normally would have been. But first 53's out. We'll see what it looks like here over the next 24, 48 hours. Follow him on Twitter at Sean Fazende, Fox 8. Fox 8 there in New Orleans. We always appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Be well. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Tell you every single day. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding, and now indoor shutters as well. Go to the website at reliefwindows.com. You'll see the shutters tab at the top, and you can get all of the info about their beautiful interior shutters there at Relief Windows. The same great people that will install your exterior, your windows, your doors, all of your siding, but now these interior shutters, they won't yellow, crack, chip, split, warp. They're environmentally friendly. They are fire retardant as well, so makes your home safer, more energy efficient. You got to check them out. It's Relief Windows, windows, doors, siding, and reliefwindows.com, and now indoor shutters as well from Relief Windows. Okay, it is after further review. Hey, if you missed it, really good piece up at ESPN.com, too, by our friend Kat Terrell. She talked to Mike Thomas and also to Ronald Curry, who's now the Saints quarterbacks coach, who was the Saints wide receivers coach with Mike Thomas over the past few years. And it was interesting because Thomas was talking about his injury, and this is the first time he said this specifically on the record. He said, quote, "I don't want to use this as an excuse, but also when you get surgeries and they put hardware in, sometimes your body rejects the hardware." He added, "Your body responds and healing responds to it. Whatever I guess is the 1%, I guess I'm in that category." Curry told Kat Terrell, quote, "He, Mike Thomas, did nothing wrong. His body just didn't react to the surgeries like it should have." So apparently they put hardware into his when he had the toe surgery, the ankle surgery, and his body rejected the hardware that they put in, which is why he didn't heal as quickly as normally would happen. Now, the other part of that conversation is still that Michael Thomas back in 2021, in that offseason leading up to 21, ghosted the New Orleans Saints. So that season that he missed entirely was predicated on him ghosting the team because they disagreed about how they wanted to proceed. Ultimately, I don't know what the point of this is right now. I mean, I don't think you care. I at this point, I don't care. What's done is done. You've gotten 10 games out of him over 3 years. Like, let's just hope he's healthy. All of this is behind him. He's in a good place, mentally, emotionally. The team is in a good place with him, and he's ready to go back and be a great receiver again. I don't know that we're ever going to see 2019 Michael Thomas again, right? The guy that was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. But can we see a guy that is an 80-catch guy and a 1,000-yard receiver? I completely believe that's possible for this version of Michael Thomas. You just got to stay healthy and go do it. And that's a big if. It's a big ask when you've had 3 years of what we've seen. But if he can, what a security blanket that is for Derek Carr and a boost for this offense going into 2023. Okay, Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks when we come back to wrap up. Tuesday shows brought to you by our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. You want to buy a John Deere in Louisiana? You get it at Sunshine. Yeah, they got the zero-turn mowers and all of that that you buy for your home, for residential properties. But, man, you're a farmer in the state. We all know the importance that agriculture plays in our state. Our farmers in Louisiana trust John Deere. They trust the people at Sunshine who not only sell them that best top quality equipment, but the service after the sale is what always sets them apart. Sunshine Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Okay, it is after further review. Otter Locks is coming up. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. We get to a little what we learned as well. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. Hadn't had really much time to get to your texts and emails and tweets today, but may have a couple of minutes left at the end of the show here. So if you got some you want to get in, fire away. We appreciate you for being here with us. We'll put a button on it next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. The Watermark in downtown Baton Rouge, the Renaissance in Southtown. The Watermark Hotel, tell you about all the time, is Baton Rouge's original skyscraper. The Watermark was the old Louisiana National Bank building, and if you have not been inside the Watermark, what an experience. They even have some rooms that were old bank vaults that they've converted into meeting rooms now. They've got guest rooms as well that, because of how they were positioned in the bank building, there's one, it's so cool. It's like all concrete. There's no windows, but there's a skylight in it. It is a truly unique, meaning only one, hotel experience in Baton Rouge. And if you have not eaten at the Gregory is the restaurant in the lobby of the Watermark. You can always go in, have a cocktail, a glass of wine at the bar. They got a charcoal oven right there in the lobby. So those beautiful smells and aromas are wafting through the lobby. You got to check it out. It's the Gregory inside the Watermark Hotel.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the of an incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, who had himself a nice win tonight. Otter last night gave us a two-team parlay with the Orioles and the Mariners. He gave us the Brewers over the Cubbies. And he liked the over in the Padres Cardinals, which didn't hit. But, as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Otter, how are you?
Doing great, man, but a lot better than the house, man. I talked to cats from the East Coast to the Gulf Coast to the desert. One of the worst nights in a long time for the house. So the public favored between 11 and 14. 10 of those 11 covered on the run line as well. I mean, Matt, I did that two-team parlay, and then I added another one with Atlanta on it. I mean, it paid like plus 187. They outscored their opponents 40-4. I mean, you know, both of the ones we had were like 8-0 shutouts.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, Seattle again tonight, the Dodgers again tonight, Toronto. You know, they're back on, they're back with it tonight. But a lot of people, Bet Rivers said it was their worst day of the year, any sport, any night.
Wow.
23. Yes. So we're talking about, we're talking 6-figure run line bet on Seattle, just rolling it over.
Wow.
To like double. I mean, it just, they have no fear right now with the just no real competitive balance. That brings us to where we are tonight.
Okay.
I'm still going to go with Seattle Dodgers parlay. Kershaw's been lights out. Merrill Kelly gives the Diamondbacks a chance. I like the way the Diamondbacks have been playing, but the Dodgers are on fire, hottest team in baseball all of August, and Kershaw's been their only good starter. He's been lights out. Seattle throws out another good one. Elder, phenomenal. Oakland throws out another trash bag. I mean, and Julio Rodriguez, 4 more hits again last night. He gets 4 more hits before the end of the month. He'll be the only second guy in history of baseball to do it. Guy named Ty Cobb's the only one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just crazy.
He called that man a trash bag.
Well, they got a whole crew of them in Oakland right now. So, all right, Boston and Bayo. Spelled Bello, but he's Latin. It's Bayo. Bayo versus France at Houston. This is an exact rematch of Thursday's game in Houston. Boston won 17-1. I like Boston to bounce back from last night's game as well. Give me Musso's stock minus $1.20 there.
Right.
They're not going to shut down all these books, so I got to think some of these dogs are going to hit. My favorite one is Washington and Gore. We talked about the Nationals before. Behind the Orioles, the number 2 ROI, return on investment team in all of baseball for the whole year. They're I got plus 63, and I think DraftKings is 54.
Yeah, 54.
Okay, plus 54. They definitely have a shot to win against Toronto there. I have 2 other considerations. I'm going to bet them on my side, but, beware.
1 minute remaining.
If you want them.
Okay, yeah, please.
Okay, White Sox got a chance. Kramer's he's been pretty good, but he's not overpowering stuff. He can be beat. Give me the White Sox plus $2.
Okay.
And that's at DraftKings available as well. And where is the you're really gonna hate this. Lambert has been hit and miss. He got a chance. The Rockies are plus 230 at home. I mean, you got more tomahawk chop in the stands than you do Rockies fans. They even going out to try and hug Acuna in right field. Take Colorado plus 230. I'm just taking some stabs on these dogs. Yeah. I got to feel that the house will bounce back a little bit tonight. We'll see.
Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at the original walk-on of Burbank.
We'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, y'all have a great night. Muse Paulie, I appreciate you. See you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, reminded by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. Who wants to deal with mold? Nobody. It's dangerous. It's ugly. Can be expensive. Hazardous to your health. Man, I got a solution. It's Mold Zero. I mean, you can call other remediation companies that might come in and cut sheetrock and pull out carpet and make you move all your furniture out, and it's really disruptive. Or you can call Mold Zero, and they'll come in, leave everything as is. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. They just close the doors, let that fog do its thing, because it's fog. It'll get into every nook and cranny and kill everything. And as soon as it dissipates, you can go back in your home. Again, non-toxic. Go read the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers report. It's at the website. You can see pictures of their work and see everything that they do. It's Mold Zero. You want a free estimate? Mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ram 1500 trucks, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Toulouse.